nose, her mouth, and just feeling like I was contributing artistically to this, only for my mom to come back and see it and beat crap out of me. This is not a venting session for physical abuse. It was necessary, because why the heck would I do that? Sorry, I'll make jokes in between this. Please, if you notice I'm trying to be funny, please just laugh to make me feel a lot better about myself. Yeah, somebody got that joke. Thank you, Tolu. Somebody got that joke. I feel like I've always been one who wanted to say something. Yeah, so I feel like creativity is one of the ways we express ourselves. So first of all, what is creativity? I would like to have like a back and forth where it doesn't just feel like I'm just talking. So please, anybody here wants to share what they think creativity is? Just drop it in the chat box. So I'll just read it out loud. So what do you think creativity is? So I'll go first. I think creativity is us living and expressing ourselves like God. That's what I believe creativity is. I believe creativity is us being extensions of God, expressing yourself. Yeah. The word self-expression comes to mind, self-expression. I think creativity is us being like God. I'm a Christian, so I'm going to speak from that point of view. We're made to be like God. So we're going to express our nature, really. God is the creator. It's the first thing we get to know about him when we encounter the Bible's account of him. The first thing he did was he made something. How he made it now gets really interesting because he spoke. But yeah, it starts with him creating. So I think creativity is us just really just expressing ourselves. Someone says self-expression. Someone says expressing yourself. This might not be generally accepted, but creativity for me is my way of building an identity, an expression of everything that we are and is the things that exist. Creativity is to generate, to create something. Creativity, what makes our creativity is our ability to generate. Yeah, God created the heavens and the earth. He took of himself and brought to life. So that brings me, mentioning that brings me to another point of mine, which is creativity should be an expression of any form of creativity is an extension or an expression of who you are. Like we've rightly said here, it's an extension or an expression of who you are. Who are you? Who you are determines the kind of things that come out of you. Someone, please, if you can turn on your camera, please do. I feel like I'm talking to myself. So if you can, please do. Please do. Please do. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Nifemi. This makes me a lot more comfortable. If you can turn on your camera, please do it to make this a lot more fun. Oh, yeah, inside Danfo. I don't care, please. You see, creativity is an expression of who you are, where you are, and all that good stuff. So please turn on your camera. I like to feel like I'm talking to real people. Hi, Dara, Simi, Alao. I love your cut. It looks really good on you. High praise, Oga. I'm sure I pronounced your name at least okay. Who else? Who else has their camera on? Tolu, I said Tolu, Titi, I see you. Even though your camera is not on, I see you, my guy. Hold on. Thanks for coming. Yeah. We are just like I said, creativity is self-expression. So the question that comes in is, it sounds very, hi Toby. I didn't even know it was you, Toby. I know you, Toby. Hi Toby. The question that comes to my mind now is, why do we create? Yeah? Why do we make stuff? What's the point of making stuff? And not to sound bleak and grimy and what's that word now? That guy who's just unnecessarily spooky. But if we're to create with purpose, then it's clear if we had to live with purpose, because you're like, why do we create? It also extends to the question that why are we here? Like, why are we alive? What's the point of living? What's the point of being a human being? What's the point of staying and living each day? Why don't you just off yourself on the spot? And the moment you're born, tell your parents, I'm not doing it again. The moment you have consciousness, end it. We at some point get to see purpose in our existence. And I feel like in our creative endeavors, we should have that as an extension to ask yourself, why am I making what I'm making? What is the reason behind this? I'm going to use myself as an example. Like I said, I'm just going to flow, and as the spirit leads. I use myself as an example. One of the reasons I started making the kind of content I make, expressing myself the way I do, is because I wanted to be able to extend peace to as many people as possible. It sounds very, extend peace to as many people as possible. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing. 2017 into 2018, I think I faced like one of my darkest seasons of my life, where I dealt with like anxiety, depression, I was suicidal, everything was just, my life was in quote falling apart. Crazy things happened. In the words of Thames, crazy things happened. If you didn't get that joke, I'm sorry. T-Dot is in the, right? T-Dot, thank you for informing me, but yeah. Yeah, so it was coming from that, and I had moments where encountering other people's art helped me. Amanda Cook. Amanda Cook is someone I love. I love her music. I love listening to her speak. I love looking at pictures she takes. I like reading the things she writes. She's amazing. I feel like in my journey to expressing myself, I got to see her and see myself in what she did, and then in turn bring myself out. I don't know if that made sense. So I think I need to write something down. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I want to talk about. Yeah. So yeah, I got to meet, I not like meet her in person, but I encountered some of her work, got to listen to her music, and it really helped me. And one of the things I stumbled upon, and this is where you guys get to know why PAC is a thing. So I stumbled upon a cover of hers where she was singing Hillsong's PEACE, Peace. You will stand true even when the lies come. If you know the song, great. If you don't, go and listen to it. That song is so it was from listening to that, and I'll listen to it again and again. I'll have episodes and just play that song again and again, and a couple of other things that she had done till I was good. And it was towards the end of 2018, 2019, and I was like, okay. I realized that a lot of the stuff I wanted to make was because I wanted to be able to achieve that same effect with other people. I wanted to be able to bring other people out of stuff just the way Amanda did for me. I don't know if that made sense. So, and of course, getting to live life and find purpose, I realized that's actually one of the things I'm supposed to do. There's a lot more to who I am and what I'm about than just that, but it's a core thing. And every form of creativity that I express, somehow, somewhere was tied to it, even to my style, to my approach in general. So much that it took me a while when I started doing the whole PAC thing in my videos. It took me a while to go sit down and look through even my covers, songs that I had done, songs that I had recorded. The kind of songs I like to do were stuff that leaned towards the very calming and very peaceful vibe. I did not consciously do that. It was not like, okay, I want this to sound this way. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. If I'm saying anything that makes sense, please nod. Even if you can't speak back to me. Let me see you nod. Dara, see me. I can see you. You're literally at the center of my screen. So please, you're giving me moral support right now. So just give me, just smile if I'm saying something cool. Yeah. So thank you. So it was from that I started to I realized I was making stuff with that feel, with that tone, with that style. So in the end, what I'm trying to say is this: in our creating, we are just the same way we believe we are here for a reason, and every single thing that we are, every single thing that's required for us to fulfill that which we're here for, has been given to us. I believe our art should not be detached from that. Every single thing we require to make art that is impactful, we have it already. And in the course of me preparing for this, I had a conversation with someone this morning. He's trying to put out more content. And he was like, Katie, I want you to see the things I'm working on and tell me what you think of it and whatnot. So I'm just going to share the things I told him here also. And I'm sure it's going to help somebody. I feel like the point of this entire thing is not just for me to, in quotes, fill your head. I feel like one of the things I'm here to do is to fill your heart with stuff that would energize you to create, energize you to see that what you have is enough to do what you have to do. Make you see that there is something to be done. So even when you don't feel like you are, in quotes, living with the standards of what, should I say, using the world's metrics for success. When the world's metrics for success don't measure up, you still have like your own metrics for determining whether you're on track or not. Just the same way when I put out content, as much as I love the 1 million views, the 2 million views, I'll tell you one thing that I feel I use as my metrics, and it's when I see people send messages saying, "Thank you so much for doing this." If I can see one comment saying, "Thank you so much for doing this," my job here is done. My job here is done. So create a purpose. Find out what exactly is my content supposed to do. What exactly is my work supposed to do? I'm not saying this for everybody to become a content creator. But in the end, I feel like we're all creative in one way or the other. When we live from a place of purpose, understanding why I'm here, what am I here for, what am I about, it is easy for you to put out stuff, and you can put out stuff knowing that you are on track. Originally, music was what I did. Music is still what I do. Music is something I'll always do. By the way, I'm working on an EP, in case you did not know. For those of you who are here, you're the ones that get to know about it first. Well, somebody here already knew beforehand. So yeah, I'm working on that, and fingers crossed. I pray I don't want to wake up and say I'm not doing it again, because working on music is way harder than people think it is. But yeah, music was what I did originally from the start. Then one day I woke up and I was like, there's this story I want to tell the world. I think it's time for me to share this. And I got in front of the camera and I told that story. And this is, yes, thank you. What makes this very interesting, I feel like I'm rabbit holing, but I'm sure I'm making sense. I'm sure I'm making sense. So if I'm making sense to you, please, yeah. 2021, after law school, I knew music was what I wanted to do. I needed to get better at making music. So I just felt the need to reach out to one of my older music people. And I was like, yeah, I want to learn this. I want to learn music production. And it's like, oh yeah, I have a studio I'm working on. I'd like you to come here and learn a couple of things. While I was there, I started learning music production. And not long after that, I went for NYSC. This was after law school. I went for NYSC. And while I was in NYSC, I wasn't singing. I was not doing anything. It looked like I was just sitting and nothing was happening. So it was more like, okay, the things you learned from music production, what can you do with it now? And I started making covers and putting them on the internet. The original goal was to start a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel was called Cavelet. So Cavelet is, in quotes, a play on the subject of David and the Cave of Adullam. So David in the Cave of Adullam, if you're a Christian and you know the story, David in the Cave of Adullam was David in this cave when he was in his It was in his, I don't have a throne, I don't have a palace, but then I'm with these people. And even though I literally have nothing, I'm going to take off my nothing and help them be better, which I feel spoke to who I am, because sometimes I feel like I ain't really got nothing. Like I still struggle. I still have my struggles. I still have things I'm fighting with. But in the midst of all of that, I want to be able to be part of other people's process. I want to be able to give of the little that I have. So that came from that. Like I said, there's always a purpose back to everything. So I started that. So for some people here who know about my YouTube channel, you can go check it, check some of the really old stuff. So it was even much more of me trying to help my friends who were also creatives, create a space for all of us to just put stuff out there so that when it's time for opportunities to come, we have things to show like, okay, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. So that happened. Then way after that, I started putting out content on my Instagram. And I was like, yeah, this one video, I want to share this. Back to what I was saying. I want to share this story. And in the end, I remember while I was telling the story, it seemed like the story was going to be a really sad one. It felt like it was just going to be really sad. And I'm just like, nah, Hidi, you're not about spreading sadness and darkness. You're about giving hope. And I remember right in the middle of the shoot, I was like, well, what is the good side to this? And I think I flipped it in a way of saying that just because it was good does not mean it was meant for you. Something like that. And just because it's what you remember to be good doesn't mean it's good for you or something like that. I don't know why I'm struggling to remember this particular line, but I found a way to flip it because I knew that for me, my goal is to give people hope. My goal is to give people peace. So even in me sharing that story, what is gone and there's better ahead. That was how I ended the video. Even though I felt like I was still bruised, I was still in pain from the entire thing. After sharing the story, I believed giving hope was what I wanted to do. So I put that there. So I feel like purpose, yes, back to what we're original, tying it all together. Purpose is very, very core in your creative process because it helps bring everything together. It helps keep you on track. You're not getting lost in life and art and just every single bird that flies over your head that perches, you just take it. It helps you filter. So that's that. Another thing I wanted to share on was on the subject of people. Is there anybody here who feels like they're camera shy or they don't like people seeing their work or they just write and they never let anybody else know about it? So this is one thing. So because it's not just about cameras now, some people would write. So I was watching a film yesterday, yes, about he's all that. I don't know if anyone of you have seen it. It was a retake of like a 90s film or an early 2000s film. And there's this guy who just takes pictures and never posts it. He's a very talented photographer. And I was speaking with someone earlier today on this same subject. That's one of the things I told them. And I'm like, the reason why you feel like you think you're camera shy or you are this or you're that is because you have a stereotype in your head of what you think a person who should be in front of the camera should be like. You have a stereotype of, okay, when you're in front of the camera, you're supposed to look a certain way, you're supposed to talk a certain way, you're supposed to present yourself a certain way. But to be honest, the reason why that stereotype is there is because those people showed up. Anyways, imagine if nobody like that ever showed up. There's a possibility that they will feel that way. And this is the interesting thing. Because you find yourself missing in that entire space, would I think even makes it a lot easier for you to show up and not have to be like anybody else. I don't know if this makes sense. Like, let me put it this way. The reason why you feel like you can't step out is because you're not seeing anybody that looks like you there. One. And that's proof that you need to step out because when you step out, you're the only one that would look like you. Does that make sense? Yeah, like it's just you. So, and the thing about it is, there would not be new styles. There would not be new styles. There would not be new takes if you do not show up. Because I like to see. I said I have a video that I recorded a while back that I never put out, and I've not put out it. And I'm like, it is really selfish of you to not put out your authentic self. It's very selfish because you're depriving like the entire world of you and all God has made you to be. One. Number two, there's somebody out there who needs to see you to feel like they can step out too. And I'm sure you're like, yeah. Okay, Nifemi has his hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about that because I think it's very important. And thank you for bringing that up. So the thing about creativity is, and the thing like King said, so use an example so it makes more sense. So in church, I'm a very loud person. I make noise, I shout, I scream from the front to the back, and all of those kind of things. I dance around, I make a lot of noise. Like I'm very extroverted when it comes to that. And then I started like growing in ministry up until the point where I take preachings, I began to go in ministry. And one day I was driving home with someone and she said to me, "Thank God for you." I'm like, "Why?" She said, "I never knew loud people would ever become something in ministry." And it was very, very important to me because a lot of people can already cut themselves out of something because there's no one that represents them there. And he assumes that this is not for them. And that's why creativity is important. Like I write a lot. I'm one of the people that don't put it out, but I put it out, but I don't like come and shout that I write. But my writing style is very vulnerable. So I remember a few weeks back, I wrote about money, about how when I was growing up, I used to steal money from my mom. I used to swindle people around and just started putting the journey of how I'd grown the mindset of money to this point. And someone reached out to me and said, "I thought I was insane." And for me, it's the point of I could have decided to just put, I am investing 2 million naira into this now and this now and this now. And the point would still be made, but the essence of who I am would be lost in that storytelling of what it is. So for me, it's always important that when it comes to expressing yourself, like I wrote something today and I would pass over to King. And I wrote something and you have to be like, a lot of times the problem with comparison is that we think that there is somebody like us. But if you look at your experiences, you can find people in subsets that have the same experiences as you, but they don't have the entirety of who you are. So if you put everything together that has made you to where you are today, there's only you. And that is an important thing to note, that if I carry everything, like there are people that have subsets of who I am, yes, but nobody else has everything that makes me me. I am the only one that makes it. So if I die, there will not be another me again in this world. And so the things that have made me me, that I'm supposed to express and live out in this world, if I don't live it, nobody else has the capacity to live it again than me. So yeah, I would hand over.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Mr. Nifemi. That was so this, I think I would just say two more things, then I'm sure we have questions, and both on content creation and like creativity in general. For me, there is one thing I strongly believe, and it's honesty. Honesty and creativity, honesty and art are like this. One of the ways you make art that people can connect to is when you are truly yourself in it. Being honest with yourself. One of the best ways to be honest to other people is to be honest with yourself. Because if you lie to yourself so much and you start believing the lies, when you lie to other people, they can clock that you're lying. Even though, like, they will clock that you're lying, but you still believe the lie. So first off, be honest with yourself. Honest with yourself on how you see the world. Like, know how you see the world. and don't be afraid to share it. So I'll give you an example. Honesty and vulnerability are like this. Like I hope, I really believe I'm making sense, because I'm seeing Dara Simi's face, and I love it because her expressions are telling me that okay, she's actually really processing what I'm saying. So thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yeah, vulnerability, honesty. Okay, T-Dot has his hands up. Do you like to ask a question? T-Dot.
I'm sorry, that was a mistake. Sorry.
Oh, okay, that's okay. You can just take it down. So honesty and creativity go hand in hand. For me, I like to talk about stuff that is happening in my life, stuff that's happening around me, stuff that's happening with me, and share from there. Because the truth is, for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know how, people can feel when something comes from the heart. Whether we like it or not, for some reason, human beings have the ability to just tell something has, allow me to use this word, has soul in it. We can always just tell. Sometimes we don't know what the story is. Sometimes we don't know the full details of it, but we can always just tell that there is heart in this thing. Heart, art, same difference. Honesty, vulnerability. So in your creativity, allow who you are. Create first of telling your story, but with purpose in mind. What do you want to achieve? What do you want people to see out of the story? And the interesting thing about vulnerability that people do not know, thing with honesty and vulnerability is it's not the same thing as giving out information. I've made a couple videos about my love life in the last 3 months, and you people cannot exactly tell what is going on. People cannot tell, like nobody knows. Nobody knows what exactly is going on. And I always say that in my videos, people that can actually tell what's going on are my close friends. Like they watch one video, I'll be like, oh my God, no. Katie didn't say this to this person. No, he said he was going to say it and he actually did. But you guys don't know those details. But the thing about it is, when you come genuinely as yourself in your creative process, people see themselves. That's the thing. People actually see themselves. It is more relatable when it is human. It is more relatable when it has soul in it. So people can see themselves in the things you make because you are a human being. Our experiences are not unique. That's the thing. Our experiences are not unique to us. But our combination of experiences are what makes us unique. Just like he said, like different things make up who you are. And one of the things that makes me so confident saying this is I can make a video about, last year, I made a video about 4 people in one. My brother who had just traveled that year, my friend who the year before I was in his car on Christmas Day, went to meet his girlfriend, they are married now, who was a doctor in a pediatrician hospital, like she's a doctor. She was in the hospital on Christmas Day. Went to meet her, took food to her. And after that, I went to another friend's house and I was in his house through the night, like Christmas Day, the night to the next day. But last year, Christmas, I was by myself in my house. Even my roommate had traveled. So it was a combination of me missing my roommates, the idea that I was probably not going to see my brother for only God knows how long. My friend who I was with last year is now in the UK. My other friend who I was with is not even in town. So I made a video saying I miss you, talking about how even though all we did last year was just talk, like we just sat down and just talked. Like I wish we could just sit down and talk like we did last year. This is in reference to my friend that I spent like Christmas with. I stayed in his house. We didn't do anything special. We just sat down and talked. And I also said something. I'm sure. I miss you, but I'm sure one of us is at least one of us is having fun wherever you are. My brother is in the UK. He's having the time of his life. I'm in Tinubu's economy here in Nigeria. I'm seeing Shege. You get two different things. But when people interact with this video, I know where I'm speaking from. And also, I made that video also with my uncle in mind who had passed away in August. So it's like a lot of people in one. Very genuine experiences. If I tell you the details of my relationship with these people and circumstances surrounding it, when you go back to watch that video, it will make a lot more sense. But in interacting with it, every single person would see somebody that they miss in that. I don't know if I'm sure what I'm saying makes sense. Yeah, so in the end, show up as you, pour your heart into your work. Like, pour your heart into your work, not necessarily giving out people the information of your life, letting everybody know that, okay, my uncle passed away in August, my best friend is gone, my brother is in the UK now, my friend I used to talk to before is married now, so he doesn't have my time anymore because he's with his wife now. You're not giving everybody that information, but of course now I feel like I don't cast like this because now everybody's watching my videos now, you're like, huh. But yeah, so that's that. And final thing I wanted to say on commercializing your art. 20 minutes left. Commercializing your art. I feel I saw a video a while back, and this is to like content creators. If you're into creating content, I saw this video from this lady. If you're in my community, I'll look for that video and just my community on IG. I'll look for that video and just drop it there. If it makes sense to the rest, it makes sense to them. If it doesn't make sense to them, great. But if you're there, you would see it. And for those who are not there, please go join so you would see it. So yeah, I saw this video where she described like two categories of people. So as content creators, there are influencers that brands reach out to them, tell them that, okay, we'll give you this money, you make this video for us, you do this for us. And then there are these people who are always doing their thing, but brands are coming to them, telling them, please take our products, use this in your video or something. And then they're like, well, you have to pay this. And brands are like, oh, okay. I don't know if I'm sure what I'm saying. Like you can see the clear picture. Yeah, so the goal is to create with the mind of building something that is self-sufficient. I feel like I'm using words that are very vague, but create in a way that allows people to be able to fit into what you're doing. I give you a typical example now. Someone like Nara Smith. Did you know that Nara Smith is a fashion influencer? Nara Smith cooks, but you know how she's a fashion influencer? Every single time she shows up in her kitchen, she's dressed really elaborately. Why? These brands pay her to wear what she's wearing. Nobody dresses in the kitchen like that. But then she's a model. She's beautiful. She wears it and it looks nice. So in the end, when you're creating, one of the reasons why I'm saying this is a lot of times creators are constantly feeling the need to like chase trends and what is the rave now. But the moment you start creating with the mind of purpose, trying to achieve an end, people can see who they are in what you're doing, both from the businesses that want to interact with you as a creator and your community. People can see who they are in what you're making and want to be part of it. I'm sure what I'm saying makes sense. I feel like I'm trying to say so many things in like such a little time. But yeah, so I'll use another person like Salem King as an example now. Salem King makes whatever he wants. Have you ever seen Salem King do a trend before? Like something was trending and he jumped on it? Never. Why? it's easy to establish yourself as something when you are actively trying to establish yourself as something. Because if you're a content creator, you're constantly jumping on every single trend. By the time people are trying to find out, okay, does this person fit into our brand image? Is this person's story, in quotes, going to be able to tell our story to? They will not necessarily be able to see themselves in you. I'm sure that made sense. And I'm right now. I don't sound like cutie of Instagram. I know, but yeah. So that's that. I think I've touched on every single thing I have written down. But yeah, there's one more thing I want to share. But I think we should ask questions. I would like to answer questions, for the ones that I can answer. I believe I can answer the questions. So yeah, Mr. Nifemi, can we go into that?
Oh, yeah, please, you can.
So please, questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand. Okay, biggest fan, Tulu. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hi. I hope everyone can hear me clearly.
I can.
Okay. All good. Okay. So I think my question would be, how do you balance wanting to put out work, but also overthinking it? Maybe because you feel like some part of it is not done, or maybe you're just not ready to start putting it out. Basically, like, what is your relationship with your inner critic, if I can call it that? Yeah.
Okay, so on that subject, I would say, what's the point of putting it out? Like, why are you putting it out in the first place? What are you trying to achieve? This sounds very ridiculous. When you are hungry, you don't care if the food is sweet, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because you want your belly to be filled.
Yeah.
Of course, if the food was sweeter, yes, great. Imagine you are freezing cold and you find a sweater, like you go out for an event and it turns out the AC in that place is very, very cold and you are freezing and you need a sweater and you're literally looking around for like a sweater and someone gives you a sweater that does not match your outfit. Would you wear it or not?
For sure. Absolutely.
You wear it. Why? Because if you don't wear it, you will die. So I feel like the same thing applies to our creative process. I feel when you have purpose attached to something, it's something you want to achieve with this. Even when you feel it's not perfect, you know that the end, in quotes, I like to say the end justifies the means in this case. Put it out anyways. Would this be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve? That should be what you're thinking. So even when the aesthetics does not work, I had a video that I put out not so long ago. The video said, I hope you don't forget why we started. That we said yes to this. That video, go and check it. It's very grainy. I shot it when it was getting dark because I used daylight to shoot. I shot it when it was getting dark. But I watched it and I'm like, nah, people need to hear this. I'm going to put it out anyways. Like, and that video did like how many? I think like 2.3 million views. So in the end, I feel like the need for perfection is this good enough to achieve the result I want it to? That's why I keep saying, create with purpose in mind. If your goal is to at least reach one person who would see this and be like, this saved my life. Or somebody who needs a job. Imagine you create content about jobs. And you think about it, that this opportunity, now if I don't drop this video between today and tomorrow, this particular or within this week, this opportunity will expire. And nobody, people who need to hear it will not hear it. If that was your mindset, would you post it anyways?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
And another thing I always like to say is our technical skills would only get better if we keep creating. for some of us, we have taste that's way beyond. More often than people are very critical, it's because we have taste that's way beyond our technicality in the moment. Like you, for example, if you're a person who loves film, you're a person who is like into visual art and whatnot. You know what good is, you know what amazing is, you know what a great video is. But the truth is, you will not become that great video that you will not be able to make that great video if you don't actually start making videos till you get to that point. If you keep thinking, well, I'm not so good yet, let me chill to when I'm good, or more, you're never gonna be good. Never. I was speaking with a friend of mine. I started acting like this year, and when I was on set, I'm surrounded by really amazing actors. Like these guys are amazing. There's this girl, her name is Fadi Shaye. She I think one of our films just dropped. That's obviously we have Bleach. So if you can go see it, please go and see it. Let me even the one we did together ourselves, Journey to Bloom. Please go and watch it. It makes me cringe sometimes. I'm going to make a video about that because I feel like I did really horribly in it. It's very cheesy, it's like teenage drama. Ugh, oh god. But yeah. Yeah. So I remember asking her, I'm like, okay, how do I get better at this? Because I feel like I'm really cringe and I'm not so good. And I know what good acting is because I'm surrounded by film people. Some of my close friends are like film directors and whatnot. And the same thing they told me was you have to actually like consistently put yourself in spaces where you can do this stuff. If you don't do that, sorry, you're not going to get better. So, like I said, beyond just even putting your stuff out, if you've not necessarily defined why you want to put your content out, consistently create, put stuff out there, like create, just constantly create. You can make the video and put it in your drive. Of course, still put it out there, but more often than people that just write and put it in their drafts, unless they are consistently trying to keep writing, never really stay consistent. So putting it out there sometimes help you stay consistent. So yeah, I think, did I answer your question, Tolu? Okay, so we'll
Yes,
go
Jay,
to
100%.
we'll go to Rita. I think Rita has her hand up. Then Darasimi. So wait here, Rita, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rita.
Okay. I want to ask, like, not me actually, I'm asking for a friend. She's
Okay.
not yet creating content. She's not yet creating content because of gadgets. She's giving an excuse actually. And I noticed that she has multiple passions. Today she's planning on creating food. Tomorrow is lifestyle. Like, what advice do you have for someone that has multiple passion when it comes to content? Like, how do they balance it?
So I'll try to answer that because I am in the person's shoe, not your shoe. So Salim and I would talk, and there's a post that Salim put out, and he would say that there's some people that if they decide to monetize their personal brand, they would make money, and they've chosen not to. I am an inspiration to that post, and this is why I'm saying that. So it's I prefer to build things, preference. I prefer to build platforms than build me, because I have multiple potential. So aside from this that we are building, I have a faith community. I have a storytelling company that tells the stories of the Bible through illustration. I have a fashion brand. I have like multiple things. I cannot come and sit down on one video every time and be saying, come and hear this one, come and hear this one. So I'd rather be silent at the back and let those things get its life. Because what would happen is when those things begin to get their life, they will be able to scale. And you can easily, because people define you by what they see. So if you keep talking about shoes, people will think that you are a shoe enthusiast. And then the moment you switch to talk about food, people will be like, who gave you the right to talk about food? like this person that is selling shoe, the only person that has been able to do context switching a lot amongst the influencers that we know is Lai Wasabi, whereby he's been able to be a comedian and also be an actor, and no one is questioning his acting skill as much as the other people before they finally broke it. Even Basket Mouth, from being a stand-up to trying skits, like people are questioning it to say why. But then for someone that has multi-potential, one best way is to focus on building those things. So you are still the engine that drives that. So the content that you are telling, that the content that you are creating for those particular platforms that you own should be original to those platforms. So what's the essence of the platform? So if you want to have, and think about this, for example, Motley Inspires. Motley Inspires started because I wanted to be able to keep, I didn't see a lot of young people sharing their stories. Because if you go into like webinars, for example, you'd see people want to bring like Fela Durotoye made, and it's not a bad thing, but then I enjoyed the concept of people that have not yet, quote unquote, made it. Because that's life. That's the interesting part. That's where people can say, oh, yes, I'm currently walking your journey. I can see myself in you. Oh, that's the mistake you made. Oh, and people can easily relate. And so it's that, and you build it originally. So to make it short, is that those things that are your potentials, those things that that the person has as platforms, build them out to own it life. Let them have a personality so that when people come there, they know what they are coming for. On your own end, you can't do that. You can choose to own one and push that, but you can, when those things own their own personality, you can build them concurrently without losing anything. That's how I think about it.
So in addition to what Mr. Nifemi said, I like to say something that I heard from someone. I'll use me as an example because they talked about sharing your story. I originally started wanting to make music, yes. If you scroll down to my Instagram, you realize there was a time when I used to model, time when I used to make music. I cook, but I don't do cooking videos because I know how my brain can be, and cooking. I eat to survive. I don't eat for the pleasure of food. Yeah. So fashion is something I love, but so this is how I see it. In the process of, first of, like I said, I always say this again, and I always come back to here. What do you want people to get out of your content? There's always going to be one thing that ties everything together. No matter how multifaceted you are, they're all different sides to one thing, which is you. People always talk about niche. I'm like, you are the niche. Because you are the niche. Because niche, Giovanni Sini. But you are the niche because cooking, somebody has cooked before. Talking, somebody has talked before. Somebody will talk after. But what makes your content what it is you. Which is why when I drop music content, my music content does not feel like Anatolia came to come and sing. It feels like KD is singing. Why? Because there is a perception of me that you have already. It's supposed to be calming, it's supposed to be peaceful. It's supposed to be energizing, it's supposed to be motivating. So if it is not doing any of these four, it is not me. So no matter, I feel like once you identify that unique thing, allow me to use the word thing now, that unique thing about you that stands you out, I don't think you branching into other stuff will feel out of place. That is one thing. And number two, like I said, ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. If you are creating content to make money, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I will tell you, there is nothing wrong with that. I have friends who started creating content because of money, and they are doing way much more than making money there. They are making mad impact, but they are also making mad money. Allow me to use the word mad in this case. Eric Google will say it. I started creating, you see, I started creating because I wanted money. You know how he says, I wanted money. Peace only will say it. I wanted money. I heard there was money in content. That's why I started creating content. But when you see what these people are doing, you realize it's much more than the money. So this is what I'll tell you. When you are doing what you want to make money, Abby, see them all the types of content that you want to do. Which one will get you to the money fastest? Start with that one. Get so good at it. And in the process of you getting so good at it, the other ones that you like, then you pick another one. I'm okay. I want to insert this one and add it to it. Then okay. Then you add the other one, then you add the other one, then you add the other one. I've been doing talking videos for like a whole year. From like next month, I'm going to start putting out more music content, like a lot more music content. I shot a couple things today, by the way. So yeah, I'm not playing. I did not come to play. I did not come to play at all. So there's a lot more to me. There's a lot more to me than just talk. I write, I sing, I do oroshi, ori rishishi, oshishiriri. And I'm funny, by the way. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm very, very funny.
And the thing is, who allowed us to who define how? It's the crazy thing. Like, who define how content should go out? It's like, it's crazy. People will say, "Oh, what does perfect mean?" It's like, what does a good content mean? Nobody cares. Like, so far I care. So far Oluwanifemi cares. That's the most important thing. Like, we need to take off ourselves all the shackles of people's opinion. Yes, I know that you want to blow on social media. I know that you want to increase, but then again, don't lose you. What is fluff? What is substance? If your content has substance, fluff will come later in life. Like, again, yeah, I think the core for me has always been defining what the metrics are for me, what matters to me, what makes my heart tick. Think about what King said at the beginning. He said, thank you. A thank you is such an amazing metric. Because you don't know that someone can be at the brink of a life-threatening thing, and your content of saying it is well, it's what they will need. And it's absolutely stupid for me to now say, because I don't have two lighting, and Instagram will not promote the video because I don't have two lighting, I will not put it out. It's selfish. If you think about it in the long run, it's like we have all been sustained or gotten one energy. Maybe you are tired in one morning, you just watch one Instagram video and you are charged to take the day. Imagine that person said, "Nah, my phone camera is not good enough," or that's it. Like, the content out. See, I write something, I put it, I don't even care. And if you are worried about numbers, cancel notifications, cancel likes, like, till you are comfortable enough to say that I have built capacity to take it to see whether I grow. See, as a Christian, I say this, like, I am someone that I have been built unconsciously in an authority of not known. I can sustain something even if there are just two people there, because you have to understand the concept of impact beyond just one person, in the sense whereby if you, like, everybody on this call is attached to a multitude of people. So the content that everybody will create based on what King has said, there are thousands of people that will listen to it based on what people are going to do. So imagine King says, "I'm not good enough to talk to these guys," because that means thousands of generation that will be blessed because of what you have told them not to do would not be. That's the problem that we don't understand. We are counting these things in terms of numbers, in terms of likes, but it's generations that we are called to take. And so one soul, one human being that interacts with your content can choose to be a better man, and that entire generation is saved because you put that content out. So stop counting those numbers. Count lives that you want to impact. Count the potential of what your content. Then again, like King said at the beginning, we have the Spirit of God in us. So it means that I breathe life. So the statements you make, the word, the video, the conversations you say, you breathe life. So it means that anyone that hears it has heard life and has the potential to create as well. So yeah, thank you. That was very passionate, but yeah.
Very, very, very. What you said was so on point. And this is one thing I wanted to say on the subject of numbers. I would say enjoy when you don't have numbers, because that's when you really know why you're doing what you're doing. Because there's a pressure that comes with numbers. You know that moment when you have like a video that does 13 million views and you're like, "Oh my God, I want to have this again." Then you now start asking yourself, should I make what I made that did this one? Even though you know based on what you are supposed to be doing, you're supposed to do something else. And you're like, oh no, I want. So imagine your first video. No, Selim King said this to me once, and Eric also said the same thing. He said, don't chase virality, because virality can easily throw you off course. So now that you don't really have so many followers, create there's something I was going to say. What would you make if the person who could criticize you, the people who could tell your work sucks, all of them died? Like every single person who could tell you your work was horrible, if all of them just one day just died, what would you make? Imagine you shoot your video in the dark. You shot the video with a candle as the lights with the camera from 1942, and you post it on Instagram, and everybody that will see will be like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread." What would you make? So now that you don't have people in quote watching, where nobody really cares, really, literally, nobody really cares. What are you making? What do you want to make? I think that period, this particular season, will help you know what you're about and why you're making what you're making. So sit with it. Sit with the period where nobody cares. Everybody has gone through that period. Trust me. You may look at my Instagram like, when did this guy started? Like, how long ago? And boom. I have the seasons when I was posting, I was getting just 1K views, 900 views. Yes. So yeah, there's that. Darasimi has a question. So please, Darasimi, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this. I think the first question I had was what Rita had asked, but I do have another question. I think basically a lot of us are in that show of, oh, we have a lot of things that we know how to do and we're actually good at. And I mean, the cost of a jack of all trade is that you're mostly a master of none. But I think that's what Mr. Anifemi had said, sort of like helped me filter. And what you said to King David helped me filter like what next I want to do, especially like my creativity and like, you know, just putting myself out there. So that was my first question and it was answered. Thank you so much. So my second question is about muse and creatives. So what is really the importance of a muse or a source of inspiration to a creative? I read a book by Mark Manson, and in the book, it sort of like explained how a lot of people that you see now that are doing extraordinary things are not the first people that did those things. So most people sat on the shoulders of other creators. I mean, the style of Shakespeare's writing was not originally his. And that just made me realize that a lot of people are selecting their shell a lot about starting what they want to do because they think somebody else is already doing that thing. And they feel like they are already being overshadowed by this other creative that does this thing so good. I don't think, you know, I'll ever be measured so well or I'll ever account anything. And I don't know if there's a way to sort of like convert that into an inspiration or like a muse. I don't know if my question was like clear. Yeah,
Okay. On the subject of having other people doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or it looking like you're copying, if that's what I'm trying to say. If that's it. So I'm going to show you something in my notes here. So do you see this word right here? What's this? Copy. I wrote it down right before this event started. Like I was going to talk on the subject of copying. So I like to believe that one of the best ways to learn is to copy. As children, we learned by copying. Number one. Number two, how all of us, if imagine for me, I have two siblings, my brother and my sister. We're raised by the same parents. We're seeing the exact same thing, but we all saw the same thing differently.
Yeah.
So even in your copying, you are not going to copy like everybody else. So even if you have a content creator who you like their work, in your attempt to recreate it, you are going to do something new. Even if the in quotes new thing is the fact that it's you that is making it. Like for real, it's one of the things I really, really believe in, because I'm looking at, of course, when I started out, my black and white thing it was an accident. It was because I was trying to color grade, and the color grading was flogging my bum bum, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. Slap black and white on it, and I was like, it's nice. Then I saw that Salem was already doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, so somebody was already doing this thing. That means, and it's working. I might as well stick to it. My brother always had the black and white thing from as far back as 2015, where his entire Instagram is black and white. And I'm like, oh, my brother is doing it too. Then it must be great. So I stuck with it. Copying. In your copying, nobody is in your copying people. So this is what I like to say. Look for people that are doing, for the idea of inspiration now, look for people that are doing what you love. Look at what unifies all of them. Because I like to see it this way. When what pulls you to somebody, there is something that pulls you to somebody, something that pulls you to another person, that pulls you to another person. When you look at all those things that pull you to them, you find out that there's something that ties all of it together. There's always, like, when you eventually look at it, it makes sense. Like, how do I put this now? When I mention, if I tell you my influences with my content, when you see my work, you see anything I do, when you see them, you be like, oh, that makes sense. But my work and their work is not the same. Like, it's very different. I'll tell you a couple people. Poetic Sparkles. Poetic Sparkles writes poetry. I don't write poetry. I just sit in front of my camera and talk. One. There's this guy, Abraham Schaefer. You probably look him up. People that have been following me for a while know that I always talk about him. I love him. He's very art driven to the things he creates. I love Abraham Schaefer's work. Abraham when it comes to structuring and like coordinating, creating content, like visualizing it in his mind and bringing it to life. Abraham is amazing. One person I feel like does something very similar to what I do, the way I do my delivery, is Montel Fish. Montel Fish makes music now, but years ago he used to like just sit in front of his camera and just talk. So Montel Fish, Joseph, and that guy again, Joseph Solomon, Poetic Sparkles, Salem, Abraham Schaefer. You look at all these people, it makes so much sense that I'm creating content the way I am. But to be honest, it is me that is in front of you, that likes all the things I like about them and choose to combine it. I will promise you there are other people in this world who are content creators who know all these exact same people, but did not pull out what I pulled out from it. I'm sure that made sense to you. So copy away. Copy away. Don't be afraid to copy. Copy with your chest. They should come to your DM and say, oh, you took this from me. Be like, yes, I took it from you and I'll take it again. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I'm very funny, guys. See, if I start doing comedy like this, then it's over. I'll give Lai a run for his money. Because come on now. Please, I didn't say that too. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, I'll take Favor and I'll take Princess and I'll run away. I am running late already. So Favor, please go ahead.
Okay, hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please make it very, very quick. Just go straight to the question.
All right, thank you. So the thing is, I struggle with consistency when it comes to like creating content and even sharing it. And the problem is I often get fixated in one area, which affects my other responsibilities. So my question is, what strategies do you recommend for like maintaining consistency in sharing content while also managing other career commitments?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. I feel like what I'm about to say now might burst a lot of people's bubbles, but I have two theories on consistency. Consistency in posting will get you visibility, but what matters the most to me is consistency in creating. Consistency in creating as are you constantly creating something, whether you're putting it out or not? So much that if you stop creating for a while and you come back, the version of you that people will meet is not where you stopped. I can say this so confidently because someone like Salem runs away. Salem will just wake up one morning and just say he's disappearing from Instagram for a whole month. And he will just go. Dimeji, is it Ajay Bile now? If you know him on Instagram, Dimeji, he will just one day wake up and run away. He said it's not posting for the next how many weeks. But he will come and just drop on banger content again, and boom, everywhere is on fire, and he will run away again. So the goal is, are you consistently working on yourself? Are you consistently creating, even though you're not posting? Because posting can be exhausting, even for me. The reason why I can say this is because like I said, visibility for a person who's trying to grow an audience, consistency as regards posting is important. Yes, but in the end, at some point, you would have to focus on consistency in your growth because once you have the audience, people at some point to get bored of you if you're not growing. Oh yeah, same old. Yeah, same old, same old. Yeah, same old, same old. What next? What's new? So you have to ensure that you're getting better at your craft, whether with technicalities or with your delivery, with how you approach things. Another thing I also see is consistency varies as regards consistency with posting. Consistency varies for different people. For some people, consistency is every day. For some people, consistency is every other day. For me, I don't post every day. I post every other day when I am consistent because I'm not also consistent with posting, with creating and thinking of ideas. My head is always in that space. But with like putting stuff out there, I do every other day because it works for me. I know I have a job. I have like a full-time job that I work and I resume at 9 a.m. in the morning and close 5 p.m. So create a system that works for you, even if it means sometimes you might have to shift from like maybe posting. Sometimes you have time to post 4 times a week. Sometimes you have to bring it down to 2 times a week. But ensure you are showing up either ways. But most importantly, make sure that you're not showing up with rubbish. You're showing up with the good stuff all the time. That's why I say consistency in developing yourself. Because you say you want to, I did not post today. You're not just gonna drop one rubbish content. I'm sorry, my sister. How the work you have been doing since to build algorithm? Suppose the law. You don't go. Yeah. So yeah, because people now be like unfollow. It's rubbish is posting. And there's another thing again. People like there's a form of endearment. Is it endearment the word now? There's an excitement that comes with mystique when people have no idea people don't really know what you're coming with next. I don't know. It doesn't really work for everybody, but sometimes you have to let people wait for what you drop next. So usually one of the things I do is when I know I've gone for a long time, I usually ensure that the next video I drop, it has to be worth the time and energy of everybody. They have to be like, oh yes, we've missed you. Yes, you are back. Go and check Salem. See, go and check it. Even with your favorite artists, Tyler the Creator recently dropped an album, and the guy disappeared for like how long? And boom, he drops one thing. I was like, oh, the first single. Everybody's like, oh my god, this is the best thing that happened since sliced bread. It's the best thing ever. The album will slap. Even if the album does not slap, that first song that you dropped had all of us like this. So yeah, if you don't like Tyler the Creator, I still love you. It's just my taste, my preference. So yeah. Phil, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, totally. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm taking it we do not have any other questions because I'm about to be late. So I think Princess had a question, but is she still here?
Good evening.
Yeah, please go ahead, Princess.
So I had three questions, and the three questions have been answered. So I
Oh,
stand down my
okay.
hand.
Okay.
Although I would like you to say something more about imposter syndrome, because I started writing spoken word pieces a month ago, and surprisingly, I got a chance to present at a conference. But I don't get what people hear or what they see. Like I just see it as I don't understand, and everybody's like, "You're so good," and I'm like, I thought it's supposed to be a process or something like that for people to think what I'm saying is too good, and yeah, that's it. And I like more like I don't believe in what I'm saying or what I'm doing, but people believe that I'm doing something good, and I'm
Okay,
surprised.
so Princess, I'm about to be very rude to you right now, so prepare yourself. Are you ready?
Yes.
How the heck will you be doing something literally? Like you are literally doing it. People are giving you feedback, and you, for some reason, believe that it is not you. Like you put pen to paper, you wrote what you wrote with your own hand by yourself. People read it, they heard it, they're like, "This is good," and you yourself again, you're like, "Nah, it's not good." Like, are you? Let me not say it. And it's very unfair to you that you do this to yourself. Like, that's one thing I would say. It's very, very unfair. It's very unfair. It's just very it's very unfair.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
it's very
gonna,
unfair.
sorry. I was
Please
just
go
gonna
ahead,
say
Mr. Nifemi.
I was just gonna say these two things to help. So we all have to realize that we spend 100% of our time with ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
you get to see the good, you get to see the bad, you get to see the ugly. It's like, and so you know that, and it's very easy to tend to focus on the bad to say, oh, I ain't shit. Me that I know me shit to write this poem. It's me that people think this poem is nice. But then again, you have to, I mean, one of the greatest things that I learned about imposter syndrome and comparison is someone said, would you say this to somebody else? And I said, no. He said, why are you saying it to yourself? And it helped me a lot to ask myself that, firstly, I would not say this to anybody else. I would appreciate the person's work and not assume they're not supposed to be there. So why the heck should I think I'm not meant to be here as well? Then secondly, you have to understand, like, imposter syndromes and comparison come from not understanding what you carry inside of you and who sponsors what you carry. If you carry the creator's DNA, why shouldn't you be successful? Why shouldn't you write amazing articles? Why? I mean, it's a question that you should ask. Like, you are this daughter of your father, and so you should be able to produce amazing work. It should be a bragging right. You should not be. I mean, I go into places thinking that I call myself, I mean, you are the son of your father. A tree does not, I mean, a fruit does not fall far from the tree. So if this is who my father is, and sometimes you even need to gas yourself to say, let me write this, and give yourself, because again, yeah, you don't want to reject opportunities that you are giving because you think you are not worth it. Half of every time, if you get the chance to speak to people that are successful, whether in content or in videos, half of the time they are winging it. That's the absolute truth. 90% of people are winging it. So join them, wing it with them, but wing it boldly. Be the master at it. So that's what I would say.
Mr. Nifemi, what you just said now was so profound. Like, you said it's you cleared you. I don't know what to say again. But this one thing I feel I need to say. And it's, you are doing this to yourself because you feel you are smart. Check the people that are doing some of the stuff you do this, because for some, allow me to say, no offense to them, because they're not smart enough to drag themselves down. Because to be honest, if you get in spaces some other people who are doing what you're doing, and you hear what they see and how they do some of the things you're doing, you realize that everybody's feeling the exact same thing. Everybody is exactly where you are. Like, if people say your work is good, first off, your duty to yourself is to gas yourself. Like, gas yourself like mad. Gas yourself like mad. What will you now do when your work is not in spaces where it is shaping society and shaping culture? Where there are people who are actually criticizing your work because of the impact it's doing. Because I think sometimes when we don't think of, like I said, going back to what we started with, creating with purpose in mind. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? If you know that, okay, this is supposed to achieve this. When it achieves the result, you're not thinking of, am I good enough? You're thinking, okay, what I did got the result you wanted. Right? You're not questioning the validity of what you made, because you already set a standard for measuring it and you're getting the results you want. So yeah. I'm sure that made sense. So Mr. Nifemi already said everything. I just came to put. So that's that. Onyekachi. After Onyekachi, no more questions. I have to run away. Onyekachi, please go ahead. Onyekachi, please go ahead. It seems Onyekachi is not here. I'm taking, we can all hear me, yes? If you can hear me, please thumbs up. Okay. So she dropped a question in the chat box. Oh, Onyekachi didn't drop a question here. Oh, okay.
I'm so happy. I actually thought about not doing this, about not raising my hand. But my question, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. Please go ahead. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
I'm here. Hello?
Onyekachi, please go ahead with your question. We can hear
Hello?
you. I think your network.
Hello? Okay, hi, sorry. Yeah, it's probably me. I wanted to ask how you got into
Oh,
acting.
interesting. The producer, so the director.
I
Oh,
love your
thank
show,
you.
by the way.
The director saw one
You're
of my
really good.
videos on IG. I was like, oh yeah, this guy should be able to pull this off. And I'm like, okay. And I remember, which even ties to what Princess was saying about the imposter syndrome thing. Me, I'm about stepping into the art space, into the entertainment space, and making change, whichever way I can. That's one of the things I want to do. So I'm like, okay, the director sees that I can do this. Me, I want to enter here to learn. I want to see how, like, what a film set is like, what they really do, because one day I am going to make my own films. So, if I'd been like, well, I'm not good enough, why would you want me to do this? I will not go there. I would have turned down the offer. So, like I said, purpose in mind, you would put purpose in front of you, everything else would align. Every single thing else would align. As regards acting, Onyekachi, my route is not necessarily what will work for everybody. But one thing I would say is people are watching. Like, people are watching. So if you want to get into acting, record monologues, go online, look for monologues. and record them, make your own monologues and put them online. To shock you, somebody somewhere will see your work and be like, oh, I love what this baby is doing. I want you on our film. I want you in our film. So record your monologues, put them online. Don't worry, very soon start in my monologues too. But let me put up music first, then we'll face monologues.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Nifemi, I think we're good for tonight. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to me talk like a 15-year-old.
No, man, you killed it. Thank you. Thank you, King. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I just wanted to say that, see, yeah. And the reason why we do this is because there's only one me in the world, and I get to live that essence of me, depending on how the Lord wants me to live for. And so I'm saying that go out. There's this Euro campaign that is going on. So I work in advertising as well, and I really like the catch line, and it says, "The sun rose for you, make it count." And that's how I would end this. Literally, the sun rose. Like, some people do not know that the sun is rising again tomorrow morning. So the sun rose for you. So make it count, make a difference, put work out. Be proud with your work, be proud with the progress. And the world is all of us taking to be. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rains and have an amazing, amazing weekend. Thank you, King. I'll reach out to you privately to thank you properly. And thank you, everyone. God bless you. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Titi. Thank you, Tolu. Thank you, Onyeka. Thank you, Brian. Brian, I saw you.
Yay!
Wiki, Rita, Precious, Princess, T. Dot, Titi, my G. My G. All right, now, thank you guys so much. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.